Do, 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 do. And I the Night, Part 3. You know that Bible passage that says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak? Well, landscaping being long, hard, and tiring left my flesh too weak for much added excitement. I mean, if all I did was work Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4, I'd have been heading over to UMCP multiple times per week. But in addition to landscaping during the day and waiting tables at night, Lovely Landscape's theoretical quitting time was frequently far more flexible than our start time. A fact I didn't like, but understood. I mean, we traveled pretty far and wide with Lovely Landscapes, and though most of her jobs were in Maryland and either inside or at least barely outside the DC Beltway, virtually every job was at least half an hour away. Traveling as far as 45 minutes from the nursery to a job site meant that if we were getting down to that last hour or so of work that needed to be done at that site, there was no way John was going to call it a day and have us drive back to his nursery, only to have us get back in the trucks and drive 45 minutes the next day to finish a job we could complete with a little OT. Celine and I chatted on the phone a lot, but even though our conversations were frequent, they were decidedly more superficial than I would have preferred. I mean, she was literally talking to me from a dormitory hallway where people were strolling by rather than the privacy of her own room, or in my case, the privacy of either my parents' living room or, if I was really lucky, their bedroom, so intimate tete-a-tetes weren't really going to occur. Besides, talking was good, but it certainly didn't replace face-to-face, and gabbing over the telephone lines meant we had zero chance of a little non-verbal flesh-to-flesh communication, if you know what I mean. I may not have liked the Lovely Landscapes overtime, but I sure liked the time and a half, and the more hours over 40 I worked in a week, the better my paycheck looked. Still, doing 50 hours of hard work a week during the day and waiting tables 3 or 4 nights per week was a heavy load. And though Celine and I had a lot of short phone conversations from June 28th through July 4th, the first time we saw one another again was down on the DC Mall on Independence Day. We headed to the Capitol Mall in the company of a few friends and were serenaded by the Beach Boys, surrounded by a dozen people we knew, as well as 500,000 other revelers. It was great seeing Celine, but our July 4th date was about as far from intimate as DC is from Perth, Australia. Despite my best intentions of being in Ms. Summers' presence again, as well as my hope that this might lead to having my second only to survival instinct being satisfied, Celine and I didn't get together again until Sunday, July 27th, which happened to be, you guessed it, a full moon. Since we'd been doing the opposite of that Elvis Presley song, a little less conversation, and had had no action whatsoever, I decided to have our first date be what I usually waited until maybe a 6th or 7th and took Celine to Feren's Italian restaurant, which is pretty high up on the swanky scale. Dinner was great, Celine was greater, and after seeing her in that gown, I managed to make time in my busy schedule to see her at least once a week until my full time with Lovely Landscape became very part-time. We'd had fun with our once-a-week summertime dates, and after my little lip peck following our Ferenzi dinner back on July 27th, we moved on to more passionate kissing. August ushered in my second fall semester at the U of M, and as I headed back to school, we had the joy of virtually daily contact, a joy that was consummated August 26th, when I drove us to a little spot right off Bonifant Road, and beneath the light of a full moon, we enjoyed full carnal knowledge of one another. Our lovemaking and Celine's beauty literally drove me to song. Looking at her, pale and gorgeous in the moonlight, in contrast to my ebony, I crooned the chorus of Neil Diamond's Play Me. You are the sun, I am the moon. You are the words, I am the tune. Play me. Friday, September 5th, we had a high time for her birthday, and come September 24th, I suggested another moonlight escapade. A suggestion to which Celine acceded, though she said she found car sex to be decidedly less satisfying than romping indoors, where, according to Miss Celine, I tended to be far more thorough. October 23rd brought yet another full moon, and we hiked to a spot where I'd built a tree fort years ago, a spot where I simultaneously revisited my youth while enjoying pleasures my 12-year-old self only dreamed of and barely understood. Making love with Celine was always a treat, but it was only during our full moon romps that I was driven to song, and each time we made love beneath the moon I would croon, You are the sun, I am the moon, you are the words, I am the tune, play me. November was far too chilly for outdoor escapades, so we splurged and got a hotel room with an outer wall that was made of glass and had a glass roof for our under the full moon sexcapades. We went there again on the first day of winter, where we made love slowly and pointedly as Celine would be heading back to Des Moines the next day. We said our goodbyes, said we'd stay in touch, and we did. But staying in touch and touching are in no way synonymous.